You are now entering a dangerous liberty zone where God-given natural rights are held sacred and exercised. This is your warning. Tyranny, fascism, and censorship will not be tolerated. Ideas will be exchanged freely. Rigorous debate and open discourse is encouraged. If you are weak and your beliefs are fragile, you should leave now. Prepare yourself. We are now live on the Dangerous Liberty Podcast. All right, folks. Happy Saturday. Hope everybody out there is having a wonderful weekend. We got a great show for you. We got a great special guest. He's a regular on our show for a reason. We're going to get to Gray in just a minute, but I want to say hi to everybody over in the chat. And folks, we're going to continue to give you the truth backed by evidence and continue to cut down these grifters, these crazy narratives that people constantly are coming up with. They're exploiting people with their ignorance, and they're also exploiting people's just biases. That is a normal thing to happen. But again, we're going to bring you the unfettered truth, the unfiltered truth, and that's what we're going to do. And you can either like it or not like it. That's okay. But if you want the truth, you're at the right spot. But I do want to say hi to everybody over in the chat. Thank you for tuning in today. We got Cool Stuff 8763, the obscure moderator. Thank you to all of our moderators. I know Gray has his moderators working hard in the background as well. And Sean Faulkner, Eric, BX5UN, Nikki for Freedom, Vet Cop, and many, many more. And again, make sure you guys say hi. Number one, what we're going to do, just like we normally do, every now and then we'll stop. We'll try to get to some of your questions and your comments. We are going to prioritize super chats. If you would like to support this channel and Gray's channel, go down in the description below. There is a link to all of Gray's social medias. Make sure you go follow him. He is a truth teller through and through. That's why we like having him on here. And if you'd like to support what we do, there's also a link down in the description that allows you to become a member and support this channel. You can also go over to our X account. Make sure you follow us there as well, and you can become a subscriber. Small monthly fee. It helps us out. That's, again, that's how you support this channel. Now, I also want to put this out there, folks. It is really important that we address this stuff as quickly as possible as soon as we hear it, because we see how these lies catch fire and get spread all over, and it's already happened. Within a couple of days of Baron Coleman coming up with this wazoo narrative that doesn't even make sense, it's not supported by the facts, everybody believes it already. And I need you guys to get engaged. Make sure you share this content. Make sure you go fight these lies and put some resistance on these people, because they are lying, they are grifting, and it's because the truth isn't as popular as all of this fun stuff, right? It's real fun to sit here and pretend that there's some grand conspiracy, that the government is framing Tyler in spite of all the facts, in spite of all the evidence. That's what they want you to believe. And there's a much larger underlying objective here. And that is, they want MAGA to lose the midterms. They want you to convince that MAGA is as corrupt and the Trump administration is corrupt as the Biden administration. It's not. It's not even close, folks. Not even close. We can see the difference between the Trump administration, what we have now, and what we had 18 months ago. We had a border that was open, that was being flooded by illegal immigrants. We have no idea who these people are. We have no idea if they're terrorists or not. And there's so many people that came to this country we don't even have numbers on. They've never been detected. And that's what's happening. And this is not only a psychological operation, this is one of the most effective psychological operations I've ever seen. And I saw what was happening back in October and early November, what Candace was doing. She has exceeded my expectations. I knew it was dangerous. It's more dangerous than I ever thought. They want us to hand this country over to the Democrats. They want us to hand this country over to the globalists. Folks, we are in a fight for our nation. So don't get it twisted. These people are trying to destroy this country, and they're using misinformation, and they're using the sins of the Biden administration and painting the Trump administration with those. And it's okay if you disagree with the war. I'm fine with that. And I'm fine with any sort of policy disagreement. But what we're seeing time and time again is people using outright lies and disinformation to sway the public against the Trump administration. So I just want to get that out there. And we will definitely be taking your questions. We'll be reading your comments. We will prioritize super chats. But without further ado, I want to go ahead and bring on Gray Hughes, everybody. Gray, welcome to the show. Thank you very much.
Hey, while I was in the background there, I took a sip of my iced tea and inhaled it because I was a fish earlier in life. I didn't realize. So I've been coughing in the background, so I might have to mute myself sometimes. That was ridiculous. But hey, thanks for having me back on again.
Yeah, I was just thinking of something while you were saying that. I was like, oh my God, Gray's going to get assassinated right on our show.
Oh, jeez.
One of the things that these people want to promote is that Charlie Kirk was assassinated by Israel. Well, I still can't get over the idea. Why haven't they Why haven't they done that to Candace Owens? Why haven't they done that to?
Yeah, that's what I always say. Like, she's the worst, like, anti-Israel that's ever been. And according to everybody, Charlie Kirk was just questioning.
Yeah.
Their relationship. You're like, hey, it wasn't like he was. So you're going to take him out because he questioned something?
Well, he wasn't even questioning Israel as the government. What he was voicing frustration with Jewish donors, American Jewish donors that were trying to pressure him to have people on or to have people on. He felt his independence and what he was doing was being threatened by donors. And look, any large organization that relies on donors, that's going to happen, right? Like, and I'm sure you even see this with your YouTube channel. I know I do. People will send in super chats. And what I almost regularly hear in the comments, almost on a weekly basis, is, Gary, I support you, and now you're saying this, this, and this. Well, I'm going to continue to say what I believe. Exactly. And you can either agree with me or not agree with me, and that's fine. But I'm going to give you what I think to be the truth. And if you don't like it, that's what you don't have to support me. And I appreciate your support. And I would hope that you would support us even when we disagree. Because I think most people understand that, look, we're in a fight for truth in this country. And again, it's okay to interpret facts differently. It's okay to disagree with certain policies and things like that. But again, what it comes down to is when you see these people that are constantly promoting lies to sway the American people, we're no longer dealing in reality. We're dealing in propaganda, disinformation that clearly has an objective behind it. That is more than just trying to convince you that Tyler Robinson wasn't Charlie Kirk's assassin. It's goes deeper than that, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, see, guys, that's why I like this guy. I mean, he said exactly very similar. I say the same thing. I'll never on my show cave to what's popular. I'm always just going to do what is actually the facts. There's been cases that I've covered where the entire chat was against what I was saying and seeing, and it turned out that I was right later on. I mean, it was crazy, So it's like sometimes I'm wrong too, but I'm just saying I'm not going to just go, hey, my audience wants me to believe this about something, so therefore I'm going to believe it. I've actually lost a lot of people because I won't just believe what they want to believe. The Karen Reed case is a good example. Yeah. If you didn't believe Karen Reed was absolutely innocent, boy, they just left in droves. I mean, it was crazy. Looney Tunes.
Well, and the other part of this is we have reality and then we have the online community. And there is a very distinct different there's a difference between those two things, because what happens is you do get these people that get obsessed and come to believe certain things online, and it starts feeling like they're the majority, and they're definitely the most vocal, and they're the ones that are going to show up to your chats and my chats and pay attention to what's going on, whether they agree with it or not. But they start turning into an echo chamber real quick. And, that's clearly what we're seeing with the Charlie Kirk assassination. People were convinced right off the bat, like trust in the government. And it's not even a federal investigation. This is the state of Utah, but trust in it was immediately intentionally eroded by throwing out, the camera guns, the palm guns, the tunnels underneath
Bush guy. Bush guy. Don't forget him.
Bush guy, the drone. They just leap from one to the next to the next to the next, and just wouldn't face reality that, hey, look, governments lie. But let me tell you something, folks. Social media personalities lie 10 times more. I will take the truth. I will take, well, I won't even say this. I don't take anything as fact. Like, I think both of you and I agree that it's important to take the information that we have and go through it systematically and look to see what is actually evidence-based, fact-based, is logical compared to whatever other narratives are being spun. And that's what we got to do with every single situation. And one of the things I love people talking about is, well, Gary, we know that COVID was a conspiracy. Okay. We know that January 6th was a conspiracy. All right. I don't disagree with that. We know that the 2020 election was stolen. Okay. I actually agree with all those things. The difference is, number one, that was under the Biden administration. But number two, we had clear evidence of those things. Like when they're sitting there telling us, like, you need to wear this mask that doesn't even filter bacteria, much less is it going to filter viruses that are hundreds of times smaller. And by the way, you can go into this restaurant, you have to wear this mask until you sit down, but as soon as you sit down,
Yeah.
you can take it off. Oh, and by the way, we're going to allow strip clubs and bars to be open, but we're going to shut down churches. Hey, this vax is 100% effective, safe and effective. And if you don't take the vax, then you're killing grandma and grandpa over in the nursing home.
Yeah, I thought like taking the vaccine. I remember that part. Like the vaccine, at first they said that it would absolutely keep you from getting COVID. And then eventually it turned in, well, and then it is true. Like if you take the vaccine, it gives you antibodies that help fight it if you catch it. So that was the only use that it had at a certain point. And then you just start thinking back. I mean, it was so easily transmitted to everybody. I mean, if you just stand in a room, so doing all that social distancing crazy crap that we were doing, I don't think it did a damn thing. It really, especially kids in schools, that's the part that really screwed up our country. Not allowing, and then the teachers going, "Hey, I'm not going to school with these," it's just, the whole thing was rigged. It was crazy,
And the other part of it was making these vaccines mandatory that were experimental. We had no idea what their efficacy or safety levels were, and they continued to change. It was like start off 100% safe and effective, 90% safe and effective, 60% safe and effective, 30% safe and effective, and then they continued to deny people that were actually being harmed by these vaccines. So it without a doubt was a psychological operation, a social experiment to see what people would what they would put up with. And unfortunately, there was a lot of people that fell for it. But again, there's also a lot of people that recognized it for what it is. And my God, you should have. It couldn't have been more obvious. So I don't know. That's where we're at. And just be a better comparison to what we see what's going on here is the QAnon conspiracy. Like there are so many parallels, and there's so many of the same people behind it pushing this stuff. John Mappin, one of Candace's biggest supporters, was a huge QAnon advocate. Bannon was a huge advocate of QAnon. So there, General, what's his name? Anyways, I'll think of him in a minute. I'm sure somebody in the chat will correct me. But anyways, all of these people that are very either within or adjacent to this whole Candace Owens conspiracy are right there with the QAnon thing. And I think that was the test run, and this is what we see it coming to in fruition. And both of these psyops are designed to target and fracture the conservative right. That's what's going on here with that. Hey, Gray, can you turn down your mic just a bit? Like we hear your
I'll try to
keyboard really loud. I don't know why, but it's really loud.
I think it's maybe this mic. Maybe I'll put it like this. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I can turn it down a little bit. I don't know. It's weird. Yeah, I'm just trying to get a hold of like people are chat. We had a bunch of trolls a minute ago too. If you don't do the right settings in your chat, they just come right in.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'd like to kind of address that a little bit right up front. You get I'll say a bad rap of kind of going hard on critics, right? And look, I know exactly where you're coming from, and I've actually met you in person. We've hung out. I know who you are, and I think there is an element of that's kind of important. Like you can only suffer idiocy for so long, and I think you're very firm on that. And maybe you could be a little bit more diplomatic on some of your things that you do. And I'm not busting.
Well, I know. We've talked about this. I've even said that you said that. Yeah, so I could be more like that. The thing is, like when I'm on these shows, and other, like even on Court TV and whatnot, they always say, look how different he is on there. And you know what I say? I go, because idiots like you aren't in my chat. I'm not talking to you. You see, because the thing is, when I'm doing my show, they show up in there and go, and they just, and I'm not talking about the random opinion comments, the trolls. Sure. They don't show up when I'm just sitting here talking to you. I see them if I happen to look way over there. But if I'm on Court TV, they don't show up somehow on the show. They're just not there. So it's just a conversation like you and I would have when we were in Orem, just sitting around, hanging out. It's just normal people talking. That's not what it's like sometimes. You get barraged by people with agendas.
Yeah, and people, I think people need to understand that too. Like, it's not just one person. It's this cumulative effect where even I get extremely jaded with this. It's like, you know what? I've just ban this person. I don't have time for this. And that's the other thing too, is even with me, folks, you're going to get the same level of respect back as you give me. And if you're just going to troll, if you're just going to go with ad hominem attacks, like, we're not going to put up with that, because what we should be able to have is an adult conversation where we can express our disagreements with respect. And unfortunately, that's not the way that social media works, but that's how it's going to work on my channel. And if you can't do that, then you're not contributing. All you're doing is distracting people. You're trying to get jabs in that aren't helpful whatsoever. And, we can do something constructive, or you can be destructive. And if you're going to be destructive or a distraction, we're just going to get rid of you. I mean, there's nothing else going on with that. So anyways, what I wanted to talk about today, and I know we talked about this a little bit yesterday, is we have this entire new document that just came out with a lot more details, a lot more information that has been provided, and a lot more clarity on what evidence the state actually has against Tyler Robinson. I haven't had a chance to go through it as in detail as I would like, but the first thing that I kind of would like to address, so we can get this out there and right off the bat, is we have Baron Coleman that's, again, attempting to create a narrative. And I'm just going to go ahead and I will pull up exactly what he's trying to tell people, and we'll go through that and prosecute the case against this and prove to you that there is nothing that supports what he's saying. And I will also propose to you folks that Baron Coleman knows this. He is constantly exploiting the ignorance of people in his chat and their gullibility. And then look, all of us have some bias, and there's people with a lot of bias out there that want to believe something in spite of the facts. And that's just true. And that's just normal. That's just the normal human condition. But what you got to do is you got to have a little mental discipline, and you can't just constantly overindulge your imagination, and you got to stick to facts and logic. I mean, that's what we should be, is a evidence-based society. So I'm going to pull this up real fast, and I will talk about, let me go to the bookmarks here. Actually, I'm going to go to my profile here. I'm going to pull up what he's saying, just so that we're clear. I know I played this the other day, but I want to make sure that anybody that's tuning in now knows exactly what he is proposing, what he's saying. Maybe this is my bookmarks. Here we go. All right. So let's talk about what he's proposing here.
In this document, if they didn't want us to see it. This was a message to people like this show, Candace Owens and others who are looking into this matter saying, I don't think Tyler Robinson did it. That timestamp right there is a loud clarion signal to us, to you, the audience. They know that they can and can't say certain things publicly. The defense can't come out and say, you realize he was Mirandized at 6:25 p.m. on the 11th. You know what that does to the timeline, right? They can't say that. One, it would be unbecoming of them.
No, they could say that.
But two, it goes right to the heart of defense lawyers shouldn't be trying the case in the public. And there's potential ethical implications with that. But they can put anything they want that they feel like is relevant for the judge to help make a decision into the pleading. I don't know why the time matters for them. Whether he said this is totally plenty. All you need to know is for the purpose we're trying to make, all he said was he wanted to talk to a lawyer first. We even have the bait stamp time, right? Because there's a transcript here and it has the time on the video. So on the video, it's the 3 minute and 36 second mark. If you're just trying to identify where it is, that's plenty. You don't need anything else. But they didn't choose to just include the text. They didn't choose to just tell the judge if he wanted to double check the words where to go look. They chose to put the time of day. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, the defense is watching.
Jesus, guys.
And I'm glad they are. This was a key.
What about the date, Baron? Where's the date, Baron?
This document, this inclusion in this document was a signal to shows like this. They're lying about Tyler Robinson. And I want to tell the defense, we hear you. And I want to tell the prosecution.
He's working
you
with
should be
them.
ashamed
Yeah,
of yourself.
We hear you.
I want to tell the FBI and the governor, you should be ashamed of yourself.
All right, so let's take a look at what he's showing here. I want you to see what he actually shows you and what he doesn't show you. All right, so look at how he frames what he's actually revealing about this document. And then I'm going to go right over here to the actual document itself. We're going to share this tab instead. I'm going to make sure that I'm actually sharing this and you guys can see it. And I'm going to even make this full screen, and I'm going to bump up the magnification on this so everybody can see clearly what's going on. All right, so what he's not showing you is this top line right here. Page 20 indicates on the evening of his arrest, Tyler Robinson declined to be interviewed without having an attorney present. And he says at 6:25 p.m. All right, here's the time marker, 3:36, the actual timestamp for the video itself. So let's also present to you what is another really important part of this. And there are now a couple of different, I have seen a couple of different conflicting arrest times, but we're going to go to the actual affidavit of probable cause, and I'm going to show you that. And we're going to see what the time is of this. So right here, let me pull that up. I'm going to pull this down for just a moment. Let me share this image file, and I'm going to show you this right here. So this is the affidavit of probable cause. I want you to look at the date, 9/12/2025, 04 in the morning. This is what they're referencing, folks. And I want us to go back and think about what's happening here. So we have a clear timeline of when he actually turned himself in. He turned himself in at around 9 p.m. Part of what Barron is saying here is that there's no way that he could have sent a Discord chat at 8:57 p.m. because he was in custody at 6:25 on the 11th. There's nothing that corroborates that. Both the timeline that Sheriff Brooksby is talking about at where the parents come with the detective friend that turns Tyler Robinson in at around 9 p.m. They also make it clear that he is made as comfortable as possible, that the parents are sitting with him in that room. And all of this, folks, is going to be corroborated by both witness testimony of the parents and Lance Twiggs eventually. But right here we have that he's not actually arrested until 04 in the morning. Now, I want you to think about what's going on in this time. Now, the sheriff states that they're waiting for around 3 hours for the lead investigators to arrive, whether that's SBI, the Utah SBI, and or the FBI. I don't know who came and attempted to or met with him, right? So we're talking after midnight when they even get there. The other thing that's happening at that very moment, folks, is now they know who the killer is, who has turned himself in as the murderer, the alleged murderer, right? So now they have to go collect evidence. And one of the things that Sheriff Brooksby talks about in that is that his deputies went and secured the scene of the apartment that Lance Twiggs and Tyler Robinson shared. They probably went and secured the scene. They didn't go in. They didn't do any of the crime scene investigation or anything else. So it takes 3 hours for the first people that are actually leading this investigation to even show up to talk with Tyler Robinson. They don't have any evidence like, I don't know about you guys, and this is speculation on my part, but I am not necessarily I wouldn't want to interrogate somebody until I had all the evidence in front of me. They have zero evidence when they arrive. All at that moment, at that time period, was when we had probably federal investigators, the FBI, and or Utah investigators that somewhere in that time were actually arriving at Tyler Robinson's house and actually going through and collecting evidence. It makes perfect sense that the following day they are going to interrogate Tyler Robinson based on information they have or attempt to. We can see from going back to this document over here that attempt was unsuccessful. Let me pull this one down and this one right here. All right. So if we scroll down just a little bit, it says, so Tyler, before we get started, I'm just going to read you your rights. Affirmative. Oh, I would like to speak with legal counsel. I'm hoping for a fellow in Utah named Doug Terry. Now, I've heard people say a couple things with this. Number one, well, why would they Mirandize him if they already have him in custody? Folks, it is common practice to re-Mirandize someone prior to an attempted interrogation. So they have that on video so that their I's are dotted and their T's are crossed so that this information can't be thrown out. So it is very common. You guys can look this up. Of course, they're going to re-Mirandize it. This was not the first time he was Mirandized, without a doubt. And on top of that, he doesn't have a lawyer. And as a matter of fact, if you go search, he actually didn't officially have any counsel until the 24th of September. One of the things they talk about later on is that on the 16th, he had like an initial hearing and he didn't have legal counsel at that time. So they said, hey, we're going to postpone this until he gets legal counsel. And legal counsel was not appointed to him till the 24th or 25th of September. And you guys feel free to look that up and check my work because that's what I want you to do. So everything that Baron Coleman is proposing is not backed by anything other than him spinning a narrative and preying on your ignorance and preying on people's wishful thinking. That's what it comes down to. Gray, you got anything to add to that?
Well, I was actually looking at something up. You can be arrested in a county and then re-arrested when the jurisdictional county picks you up. So that could be why there's two different time frames as well. Like maybe he was arrested, brought in and arrested, and then another jurisdiction when they came and picked him up. But it seems like the 4 a.m. is the Utah county. What county? I think it's a different county that I forgot the name of it actually.
I think it's actually, hold on, let me see what we got here. Let me go back to this right here. And
no, I guess it is Utah still.
Yeah.
So that is the sheriff from their county. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
have
just trying to.
But here's either one of those documents blow his narrative out of the water.
Right, like
He clearly was not under arrest until 10 p.m. or 04 a.m. the following day, and it would make perfect sense that the defense who filed this redacted motion to exclude cameras would be referencing the time the day that he was arrested, which was 04 on the actual affidavit of probable cause. So, either way, he had his phone at 8:57 and absolutely could send that text. And the other part of this is a screenshot that we're going off of. I don't have any reason to believe that it's not Utah time zone, but we still don't know if that's actually the Utah time zone. So there's lots of explanations, and just to come out and say in a declarative way, we got him. We've proven now that this is an entire conspiracy is absolutely bonkers. And he knows it. And, if you can't see through what they're trying to do, folks, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, it's just, it gets so frustrating because a lot of times when people type stuff in, like on these reports, and even when Cash Patel says, oh, he's arrested at 10 o'clock. Well, he's not going to, they just throw out a number. He's not going to give you 10 o'clock and 12 and 37 seconds. I mean, these people don't talk like that. So you have different comments that people make, and sometimes early on there's just not a lot of accuracy. But when you're putting out a document, that's when you go back, review, and then you put the precise times in there. So
Right.
that, like that 6, it's kind of interesting if you go back to that. Can you throw that one back up you had again that had the 6, what was it, 24 or whatever time that was?
Was it this one? Is this what you're talking about? Hold on. This one? Or you're talking
Well,
about?
it was one that you're debunking,
Okay,
Barron's.
Yep. So it is this one right here. Boom. All right, that one.
Yeah, 6:26. Okay. So, it says 6:25 p.m. It almost makes more sense if that said it was a.m. I mean, in some way, because you're actually, so what, this is probably on the 12th then, right? Right here, right?
This is almost certainly on the 12th. And here's my thought. Like, number one, the investigators didn't even get to Tyler till after midnight. So Tyler's tired. They're probably tired. They don't have any facts in front of them. They have no evidence in front of them. It probably wasn't until 6:25 p.m. the next day that they had enough information and went through the evidence enough to get a clear image of what was taking place, because all of that evidence was just being collected literally while he's sitting there in that office waiting for the federal investigators. And I'm sure the forensic analysis of his apartment went through the night. So I can absolutely see them waiting until 6:25 p.m. that evening to start interrogating him.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, the reason I was thinking that was because of the 0 in the front. That seems kind of weird in some way to put a 0 if you're using the 12 o'clock time frame, but if you're using the military time.
Yeah, you're using 12 hour as opposed to 24 hour.
Yeah, so it seems strange. Military 06:25 would be in the morning, but it's weird to put the 0 on there if you're, I don't know. I've never seen that. So that's why I was asking that. So either way, it's on the 12th. Doesn't really matter. Because it absolutely is not 6:26 on the 11th. He wasn't even arrested yet. So we know it's the 12th. It's just, could it possibly be that the PM part of that is an error? Who knows? Doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah.
That's their issue,
And you've done, like, I've seen errors in court documents, and I don't even do this stuff nearly as much as you do. I know you go over court documents on a pretty regular basis. This is another thing that I talked with Andrea about. There are sometimes factual errors or misunderstandings or just confusion in the court documents. But the fact is like, we have so many things that corroborate what was going on. We have the statement of Brooksby. We have 2 different documents that clearly state that it was the soonest that he was officially under arrest was 10 p.m. on the 11th. So this interrogation that he's alleging occurred at 6:25 on the 11th just couldn't be true. And there's plenty of room in there for him to have sent this Discord message at 8:57 p.m.
Yeah, and the reason we're doing this, you guys, I don't know if you guys go onto Twitter, but man, it was so inundated with people saying, we got you, man. Look at this. He was at 6:25. There's no way he could have texted at 7 something because he's already been arrested. Yep. And that's the thing, is it spreads so quickly, so fast, so that millions of people, especially because of Candace Owens and Baron Coleman, millions of people believe this slop, as they like to call it.
It is grifter slop through and through. I just want you to know, because people were sharing all this stuff with me. This is what Baron Coleman basically was saying in response to our video. The Fed slop is getting nauseating. He was arrested by Brian Davis of the Utah FBI at 2200 on September 11th. That means he couldn't have arrived at the Washington County Sheriff's Office after that. I don't know what he's even talking about. And it means he wasn't first arrested the next day. So my response to that was, and basically what he's trying to say is, because the first time that we hear about him getting Mirandized is the following day. Folks, they'll Mirandize you 10 different times if they need to. Like, they're not just going to Mirandize you once, especially on something critical like an interrogation. They're going to Mirandize you multiple times. So my response to him, I said, so you're saying that Tyler was officially arrested at 10 p.m. on the 11th, and your entire narrative that Tyler was being interrogated at 6:25 p.m. on the 11th, and he couldn't have sent the Discord message at 8:57 p.m. on the 11th is proven to be a lie. His parents turned him in at the sheriff's office around 9 p.m. The affidavit of probable cause states he was arrested at 04 on the 12th, which is clearly what the redacted motion to exclude cameras is referencing. This attempted interrogation at 6:25 referenced is on the 12th. He was Mirandized again prior to the attempted interrogation on the 12th, which you as a lawyer know is common practice. You once again are exploiting your viewers' ignorance and gullibility to lie and create a narrative that the government is framing Tyler Robinson. I can't wait to see your BS explanation and the parents and Lance Twiggs' testimonies verify the evidence presented by the state and prove you're nothing but a liar and a con man. The grifter slop is nauseating. And I want to point out this right here. I asked Grok, is it normal practice that if a person was arrested and Mirandized, but then they were interrogated a day later for them to be Mirandized again? Yes, it's normal and standard practice for police to re-Mirandize a suspect before a new interrogation, especially after a day or significant time lapse since arrest or initial advisement. Courts consider factors like elapsed times and circumstances under the totality of the circumstances to ensure rights are knowingly waived, avoiding later challenges to admissibility. This is done routinely as a safeguard. So, again, and by the way, I've also verified this with other defense lawyers. So take that for what it is.
You know, I was going to say that new document that came out, I went over it last night, and I have highlight stuff. Maybe we could throw that up there. Absolutely. I mean, I got the cool.
Is this? Nope, that's not it. Hold on. Let me remove that. We'll remove that.
And I found that portion that I was talking to you about before. See, there's a portion in the new document that says the clothing he was wearing was not consistent. Something like that.
Gray, real quick, present the document that you want to present. I don't even see it.
All right, I'll do it. Just a second. Just loading that. No, excuse me. It's a different day. That's the old one. Right. Let's see. It was under Burkhart. I just put it under her file. All right. Loading it up. There we go. So all the yellow portion is new stuff, basically.
Boom. Okay. Here we go.
So if you want to, we can just, basically a lot of it's very almost written exactly the same, except they threw stuff in that we hadn't seen before.
Will you magnify that, make that larger?
Yeah, I can do that.
I'm sorry, I'm demanding a lot.
How about that? Oh, man, that's...
I like it.
All right, so we can just go right here. It says...
My screen's like 6 feet away from me. Even though
yeah. You got to get this set up, man.
I know.
Although they wouldn't be able to see you as well. So you're just nice and open. So it's different. It says, as Robinson approaches the landing on the stairs between the first and second floor. See, they're actually discussing. Remember when he's going up the... Here, let me, I'll throw that on the screen just a second, just so we can see exactly what they're talking about. Charlie Kirk. There we go. And right here. So they talk about how he goes through the tunnel. And then this portion right here, it says, as Robinson approaches the landing on the stairs between the first and second floor, it appears as though there is something bulging out from Robinson's waistband area as he walks up the stairs. The bulge appears to be underneath Robinson's black shirt and on the right side of Robinson's waistband area. See, that's totally new. Like, that's crazy. Yep. So that means it's like right over, probably on this side that bulges out. We can't see it. They didn't put these pictures out to prove that. They see it on the video that they've got. Oh, sorry, that wasn't... But anyways, he goes up one more stair there. It's this one right here. So apparently they can see something bulging out on the video. Because every time you watch a video, there's way more data that you can see. You can see the way clothing's interacting with the body, etc.
Well, and just realistically, they're going to go through and they're going to select frames that aren't going to prejudice the jury. The whole point of these pictures was to put out to the public so that somebody that recognizes him will report him. and it
And it
worked.
worked. Yeah.
His parents did that.
But apparently it didn't work because Candace Owens and everybody else knows what Tyler looks like better than his parents.
Of course.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
not him. Look at that. Well, his parents, for God's sakes, said it was him. All right. So then let's see down here. It said, 12:02. Robinson is observed walking on the north side of the Losi Center building, walking with the same gait as observed earlier. And then Robinson walks south on the sidewalk. So this is new. He walks south on the sidewalk on the east side of the Losi Center building. So I think now we can gotta get out of this other case that I was doing. Zip over here, Utah, right into.
One thing I do want to cover, Gray. I know that Barron was stealing your work with the Shadow Link stuff that you did. I mean, you covered that on what, like September 15th or something like that?
Yeah, it was like, I think it was 20th something, but yeah, the first month, it's like right in there.
So he's now taking your work and then claiming something completely different, basically using what you did and now using it to try to claim something completely
opposite. He's trying to claim
true.
that it's more disinformation. Look, they put out the wrong time. Look, they said it was 8:07 and it was really 10:07. Hey, Barron, it was Candace who told everybody it was 8:07. You just debunked your boss. Oops. Hey, anyways, at the sidewalk they're talking about, it's like right here. He's on the sidewalk, and then I think, he might have just walked on the sidewalk around like this. That's what it says in the document. I just had him kind of cutting across, but, it sounds like he's walking like this, around, and then inside here. So that's new. It's not like earth-shattering, but it's like, he's on the sidewalk on the east side.
The main thing that this indicates, and I hit this on a little bit yesterday, is that they clearly have a full account of his actions via surveillance footage from the time that he enters campus to the time that he exfils out of there. So that's what this clearly shows. And all these people like, well, why didn't they show him taking the shot? Because that's not for you, bro. Like, that's not why they weren't putting out this information to prove to the public they had the right person. Again, it was just enough information so that if somebody recognizes him, which they did, people at his work recognized him, his family recognized him, people in his Discord chat recognize him.
That's something in this document too. It's like there was something in here that said that his friend sent him the picture of the guy. Him. He even said, okay, so he says that in his like a confession letter that's in this document, that his friend sent him that. Or something. It was somewhere around that time frame. But anyways, then this goes through the typical, the 12:15, he goes up on the roof, 12:17 steps over, 12:22 he stands up and he starts running, and at 12:22 hours Robinson lays down in a prone position, and then at 12:23, it's actually 12:23 and about 29 seconds when the shot happened. And then after that he stands up, and the sprinting motion is in stark contrast to the slow and restrictive gait observed by Robinson in earlier surveillance camera footage. See, that's something new. That wasn't in the other. So that's pretty, that's what they're watching, you guys. When they're watching that video, that 360-degree camera, they have the whole video. Now, of course, that video is, I think it's probably only like 10 to 12 frames a second. It's possible that they didn't give us the smooth version, but I don't know why. I've never seen that done before. There's no reason to do that. So I just think it's such huge. Each frame is so massive that to save space, they can make it like 12 frames a second, and you still see him. You can see him clearly running across, jump down. It's just a little sort of skippy kind of. I don't know what the word is, but when he. It's choppy. Yeah, you don't see it's not smooth.
It's a very low frame rate.
Yeah, and so that's the thing is they watch the whole damn thing, you guys. They see him coming up the stairs, going onto the roof, all on video. He's limping again, climbs over the wall. Suddenly, he's not limping anymore. He goes over to the corner, shoots, gets up, and then he runs again. He doesn't limp. He's no restriction at all. He runs over to the corner of the Losi Center building where his footprints are, jumps down, runs across, and all of that stuff, running across the street, going into the woods, is all on camera. That's why they were able to track him. Oh, there he is. Ding, 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 ding. Oh, he went in the woods. Boom, boom, boom. They went into the woods. They stumbled upon the gun. It's a small, tiny area in there, as we talked about the other night.
And that's all corroborated by the audio from the scanner and the police radio traffic. Like within 10 minutes, they're relaying the information from the surveillance footage to people that are out on patrol. Like, hey, we now have him on surveillance footage. He jumped off the lawsuit building, off the corner, and he's headed into the woods. So, like, this is almost happening in real time. There's no time for like all of these different people on the ground to like start creating some narratives or read some script that they're given. And there again, it's constantly corroborated by not only real-time events that are documented, but also by the court documents themselves.
Yeah, that's it's all in there. And then this all just talks about, the bullet stuff. It's almost verbatim to what we've seen. But then there's this other stuff they start throwing in there. So it said, this is characteristics of Converse Chuck Taylor shoe. Down here it says DNA can be recovered. Okay, while processing the crime scene, evidence technicians were able to identify the location where Robinson, through physical contact, had left potential biological evidence. Well, that's amazing because that's just what we talked about the other night. Look at that.
Yep.
Boom. Right there. That is where he contacted the roof and they swabbed those areas. And I will not be shocked. I mean, they are going to have his DNA on the roof. If they don't, just bad luck. That means they didn't get any DNA. See, people always say, like, if there's a mark on the roof and they go, well, they didn't find his DNA. And they go, well, we didn't find any DNA. Then they'll say that, well, that's not, now, how could it be Tyler then? But it's like, well, nobody left any. It's the same thing in the Idaho 4 case. Everybody, there was no blood left in the house at all he didn't track any blood around or anything after he massacred 4 people. And he leaves and everybody goes, how is that possible? And then the weird part is I always say like this, who's most likely to be able to do that? A person who is a student of criminology who actually wrote a paper on how not to contaminate a crime scene, or just some random schmo, right? And that's exactly what Koberger, he wrote a paper on it, so of course he could not do that. But I'm just saying, people get too caught up in it. They did swab it, and I think they're going to have his DNA. So as evidence technicians also identified fingerprints and a smeared palm print. I mean, I think that's what we have. I actually think, we look at this picture right here, and you zoom in a little bit, I think that's like the palm, and these are fingers.
Absolutely.
Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, those are fingers, like he slid across, and then palm right there.
And can we see that first ledge? Because that's the second ledge, essentially.
Yeah, you can just barely, I don't even know if that one just barely
even
sticks.
On top of that, he almost definitely left additional evidence on the very top of that, which we can't see. I don't know.
My drone footage that when I flew by does have that. We could look at that later if you. Or I could maybe even do it now if I can quickly. Yeah, okay. Let's just continue through.
He made plenty of physical contact with multiple areas of that ledge where he was dropping off.
Right, and it says evidence technicians also identified fingerprints and smeared palm print in the vicinity of the northeast corner rooftop edge of the Losi Center building. That's exactly where that image that I just showed you was from. And then where Robinson dropped off the rooftop to the ground below. On 9/11/2025, Sheriff Smith with the Utah County Sheriff's Office received a phone call at approximately 10. Look at time this is 10:04 or 8:04. I mean 8:04 hours from Sheriff Brooksby with the Washington County Sheriff's Office. According to Sheriff Brooksby, he had received a phone call. So 8:04 is already after that text that everybody, that Barron is claimed.
It's 8:57 is when he says. 8:57 is the time of the Discord chat. Just to be clear.
Well, that's what he's saying. I thought it was 7 something. No, I don't really care. It's still So just before he was brought in, probably in the car, he sent that text. I would imagine.
Yeah.
So anyway, it says according to Sheriff Brooksby, he had received a phone call from a former deputy who had previously been employed with the sheriff's office. The former deputy identified as Mike Mitchell. That's not, he doesn't have a Robinson last name. Everybody kept saying that. Explained that he had received a phone call from the father of Tyler Robinson. Mike Mitchell explained that Tyler Robinson confessed to his father that he was the shooter at Utah Valley University. Tyler Robinson's parents worked with law enforcement to arrange a way for Tyler Robinson to turn himself in without confrontation with law enforcement. Mike Mitchell coordinated with law enforcement to have Tyler Robinson meet with law enforcement at the Washington County Sheriff's Office. Tyler Robinson arrived at the Washington County Sheriff's Office accompanied by his parents at 10:26. Okay, you guys? So, like, that's a precise time. He's not even there until 10:26. So it makes sense that he sent that text message on Discord at 9 something, because he knows he's on his way to turn himself in and likely might not be able to communicate anymore, right? So it says Tyler Robinson was not wearing clothing. So that's the part, right? This right here. Tyler Robinson was not wearing clothing consistent with the clothing observed on surveillance cameras during and around the time of the incident. I guess that does kind of make sense. Somebody messaged.
He's saying that at the time that when he was at the sheriff's office, he was not wearing the clothing that they saw in the surveillance footage. That's how.
Right, but yeah, that is. But then let's look at this one. Then see, this is what I was just looking at. Hold on a second. Ah, crap. Did I have that? Oh, it's in here. 3. Right down here in this document, it says. Let me zoom in a little bit more. When encountered in person by the investigators in Washington County, so this means the investigators from Orem, Utah, came down, and they on September 12th, early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with the surveillance images. All right, so it is inconsistent. They're not the same. That's almost the exact same moment in time they're referring to, I think. Right? Are you there?
I don't know.
Yeah, because let's just look at this again.
I don't know.
Let me just read this again. It says, when encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th, early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with the surveillance images. Now let's go back to this one and say Tyler Robinson was not wearing clothing consistent with the clothing observed on surveillance cameras during and around the time of the incident at UVU.
Yeah.
And then it says, according to a photo provided to me by Agent Davis with the Utah County Bureau of Investigation, Tyler Robinson arrived at the Washington County Sheriff's Office wearing a dark-colored hat. By the way, let me do this. Let me just read this as we're doing this. Watch. All right, it's pretty good. I'm going to put this in here. Thanks, Candace Owens. It says, according to a photo provided to me by Agent Davis with the Utah Bureau of Investigation, Tyler Robinson arrived at the Washington County Sheriff's Office wearing a dark-colored hat. Wow, that's what he's wearing at Dairy Queen. A maroon-colored T-shirt. Wow, that's what he's wearing at Dairy Queen. Jeans and a white-gray colored Converse-style shoes.
Go back to the other document real quick, Ray.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh wait, that's not it. That's not. I got to go to this one here.
Zoom in a little bit. Where was the part about his clothing?
Let's see. It was kind of near the bottom here.
It's right there. You're right there at it.
Encountered in person. Yeah, when encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th, early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing. So that's the thing. I just think it's an error, or you know.
I'm trying to see exactly where that. Highlight that area because I'm missing it. I'm looking at a TV 6 feet from me.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me do it.
Okay, so they're probably talking about the surveillance images at Dairy Queen.
Well, they could be. This document here just says when encountered in person, investigators in Washington County on September 12th, early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with the surveillance images.
Well,
So,
look at right above that, in which he's observed on a video, approximately 8:29 September 10th, in which he's observed on a video in a plain maroon T-shirt, light colored shorts, a black hat and white logo,
right.
and light colored shoes.
That's like that earlier morning one when he's walking around. That's there's 8:29, and then we have the 10:07 video. That's what he's wearing, but the shirt's consistent.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they're saying, it's consistent with, right? But then then the other document, which is weird. I mean, not weird, like in a, it just seems like
an exact match.
Yeah, that match. What they're saying there is exactly what he was wearing at Dairy Queen. Yeah. So it's weird that they're saying not consistent with. I just think that might be an error. I don't know. I really can't explain it, but their description matches exactly the image that Candace Owens so generously provided.
And they may not have had that image either at the time. So, I mean, there's plenty of plausible explanations without getting into or what they thought was the word consistent means compared to.
It's almost the same sentence, though. Like, it's weird. Tyler Robinson was not wearing clothing consistent with the clothing observed on surveillance cameras. The other one said the same sentence, but whatever. The description, though, just after that is exactly what he was wearing, not only at Dairy Queen, but at the gas station footage. Remember that? He had the maroon shirt, the jeans, the hat, everything. And that's the day that he turned himself in, was on the 11th, and that's when he's at the gas station. So that would make sense that he was still wearing that clothing later that night, right? Yeah.
Now, anywhere in this document does it talk about a time when they attempted to interview Tyler Robinson? Because I see right here just below that on 9/12/2025 at approximately 0100 hours, 1 a.m. in the morning, FBI Special Agent Lange conducted an interview with the boyfriend of Tyler Robinson.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we can go through that one too. It's actually the same. It's similar. Let's see. Where was that? Tyler Robinson's mother relayed to law enforcement that Tyler Robinson had expressed having suicidal ideations. Sergeant Elsholz with the Utah State Bureau of Investigation provided me with a photograph of Tyler Robinson Utah driver's license. The driver's license was taken from the person of Tyler Robinson by Agent Davis with the Utah State Bureau of Investigation. And this is right around 10:30-ish. Yep. And then right here, it's at approximately 1 o'clock hours. So that same, early morning hours, just after arresting, bringing Tyler Robinson in at 10:20 something, 2.5 hours later, they're already interviewing Twiggs. And it says FBI Special Agent Lang conducted an interview with boyfriend of Tyler Robinson, he might call him a girlfriend, at the Washington County Sheriff's Office. The boyfriend was identified as Lance Twiggs. During the interview, Lance showed investigators text messages between Tyler Robinson and himself. The following is the content of those messages between Tyler Robinson and Lance Twiggs. I'm still okay, my love, but I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer. Shouldn't be long until I can get home, but I got to grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret. That part was sort of interesting to me. I hope to keep this secret, but then he has an automatic text message, we find out later, that is sent to Twiggs to say, hey, check under your keyboard. So he always meant for them to know. I mean, I don't, so it's kind of a dumb thing to say. He didn't want to keep it secret. Or did he think he was going to be home in time before the automatic test was going to be?
He also talked about the fact that he doesn't think it's going to be successful and that he's not going to come back alive, which is something I've been saying from the very beginning of this, is that whoever, even when we didn't know who actually did this, I was like, it looks like there's planning that took place for the execution, but not for the exfil. Like, I don't think he put a lot of thought into the escape nearly as much as planning and deliberate process that he put into the actual actions on versus after action. Hey,
one thing I've been thinking about, do you think he meant to switch into shorts in those woods? Or, because here's the thing is, he didn't have the screwdriver anymore to take it apart and put it back in his pants to make it through the neighborhood. He used the towel just for as a quick exit strategy kind of thing. But once he got in the woods, if he had the screwdriver, he could have taken it back apart and put it back in his pants. And yet he still, the shorts could have just been like, he had him because of earlier he had him. And he's like, oh shit, I'll switch out to change what I look like and I'll come back and get the rifle. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. No, I think it's reasonable. I mean, it's we're both speculating, but I think you're absolutely right. Hey, real quick, what I want to do is just hit some of the super chats and some good comments.
Well, there's a troll super chat that they put in, so make sure to.
Okay. Thank you, Yeehaw, for that is one of Gray's people. Thanks, Gary, for taking the time to have special guest Gray Hughes on to discuss the new evidence. You speak the truth and cut through crazy conspiracies and misinformation. That's what we're here to do. Wild Bill Wassman gifted 1 Gray Hughes Investigates membership. Philip Tabarek, which we follow each other on X. I like a lot of your content, bud. Paramount Tactical. Sure, we are not at war. That's why Trump is always out talking about it as a war. I'm sure if the shoe was on the other foot, you'd be calling it a war. You can call it a war. I don't really care. I mean, technically, it's a military action or conflict. I mean, so if you want to look, there's a clear definition of war, and only Congress can declare war. And whatever military action is taking place cannot be technically classified as war unless it's been declared by Congress. So that's the distinction that I would make on that. And it's semantics. I'll I agree with that. It's semantics. I'm not even going to get into that debate. I support the war because I think it's a just war, and I think it makes sense to prevent a future war with much bigger ramifications and consequences to us as Americans. That's my stance on it. Please get Rick Pearson and Prophecy USA on to explain the Iran war and U.S. future. Jen, look this person up, do some vetting, see if that's somebody that we would like to have on, and we'll take a look at it. In this case, they reject, talking about the Candy Cult and others, true factual information in favor of completely unfounded speculation. This is exactly right. Don't forget the BLM riots. Totally okay to be in the streets. We're talking about there was another one that you had. Okay. No offense, but I'll read it. Nikki, you're awesome. All the people trolling this chat with the same. Now, don't seem like bots at all. Exactly. That's one of the things that should give everybody an indicator of that this is a psyop and it's much larger element to this. Like all the bots, all the sock puppets, everything that you see on social media, whether it be YouTube or X or whatever else, it all goes one way. It all promotes, like these are clearly not legitimate accounts. It's clearly not organic, and it all goes one way. It supports Candace Owens and all of her surrogates, and it attempts to discourage and attack people like us that are bringing you truth. Those are just facts. This is worth bringing up. Yeah, the phone thing is like the Egyptian plane, military contractor crap. It's like, how do we even know that? Why the scope? Why only those phones or those planes? They never have anything solid. It's not. Look, it creates intrigue, mysticism. It's mysterious. It's exciting. It's fun. Like this is why there's a whole cottage industry of conspiracies.
You know how it all starts? This word right here. Things just don't add up.
Yeah, like
that's what they say.
What you're saying is I don't have all the information, and if I did have all the information, it would likely explain what took place. But because I don't have the information, there's an information gap. I'm going to fill that vacuum full of nonsense. And again, when we have real conspiracies like COVID, like some of these other ones that people have mentioned, it's very clear what's going on. There is a collusion between government agencies, the media, and things like that are pushing a certain narrative, just like they're doing now. We have the same collusion taking place, but it's outside of the government because we voted the old government out. We voted the deep state out. And now the deep state is pushing the candy stuff with media, with other social media personalities, with the assistance of foreign entities and foreign adversaries. There's no doubt about that.
Let's see.
Thank you for this. There was another.
Wild Bill Wassman.
every single interrogation I've listened to, they re-Mirandize the suspect before questioning. Yes, I know. And what Barron is basically saying is like, this is the first time we've heard them Mirandize him. That's documented. So that's when he was arrested at 6:25, and then he's taking that time and going back in time to the previous date, and then creating a whole conspiracy because he knows his audience is gullible. And
you know, it's weird when people say, they say, hey, thanks, Sandy Shirley. When people say, you know, things just don't add up. Something's not right here. This case is not one of those. There isn't one thing that I go, ooh, man, what's going on?
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. I feel like I missed someone's chat, but we're almost at the bottom here. Hello, brother. It's Arnie. First time catching a live. I appreciate you, mate. And love for a brother over the pond is okay. God bless you, sir. Absolutely. We love you too, man. We love any truth seekers out there. That's what puts all of this nonsense to bed, is people just following up with the truth. This is the one I wanted to hit for sure. Donald Trump first to announce TR's arrest on Truth. What time? Well, I got that for you. Gray, I'm going to pull yours off real quick, and I'm going to add mine right here. Well, number one, I just want to remind everybody right here, you guys can see that this, we see this Discord chat. I can never remember Discord.
Oh, there it is, 8:57.
8:57 p.m. And the problem with this too is like we don't even know what this is a screenshot.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's safe to assume that it's, you know,
well, you have to be in like that time zone to be viewing it for it to be correct. Mm-hmm. So if that's an actual screenshot that was leaked by law enforcement, then that's probably legit because he was right there.
I don't think it was leaked by law enforcement. I think this came from something else.
Maybe
I'm not where this was leaked.
It could be from one of the his furry buddies in that group, right? And then they would probably be there. Maybe, I don't know. It's hard to know.
Absolutely. Man, I had another tab pulled up that I want. You know what? I'll just do it again real quick. It should be in, because I actually looked this up. History. All right. Let me share this tab instead. So President Trump announced the apprehension of Tyler Robinson, the suspect in the assassination of Charlie Kirk, on the morning of Friday, September 12th, during a live interview on Fox News. That's when he first let that information be known. One detailed timeline placed around 6 a.m. Mountain Time, which again, 2 hours later, so that's 8 a.m. Eastern Time. If you appeared on Fox and Friends in person, regardless, if it was on Fox and Friends at 6 a.m. Mountain Time, that would be 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So early morning of Friday, September 12th, which aligns with everything that we're seeing here, folks. Everything.
Yeah.
So take that for what it's worth. All right, back to, let me just see if there's any other.
Yeah, this next part's really cool. It's a conversation part that we haven't seen.
All right, let me put yours back up there. Move that. Sometimes this thing is clunky on how it. There you go. I'll get to the other super chats, folks, in just a moment. So thank you. Continue sending those in. We appreciate it, both for Gray and I.
So right here it says this is So if you guys gonna help support the channel on Paramount Tactical side or Gray Hughes Investigates, that'd be great. Thanks. So we got the Lance Twiggs first message said. This is a different setting. 3 hours ago, there was an officer with. So this is Tyler talking. Yep. This is Tyler saying. 3 hours ago, there was an officer with a canine walking nearby the area, hoping that Pooch had a bad sniffer. And then Tyler then said again, I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle, because it sounds like the police couldn't get in for a long time while because of the traffic. Then it says the third message, meaning like, he thinks, oh, crap, I could have got back because they weren't in there because the traffic was so bad. Everybody was leaving. Then the third message, Tyler, needless to say, jeez, he's using that. I'm a be late coming home, my B. And then, fourth message, Lance says, just stay safe. Fifth message, Tyler said, I will. I mean, that's weird too, because at this point, Lance already knows that he's admitted to shooting. So just to say, hey, stay safe. Yeah, I don't know. Just, I think the only conspiracy that's a possibility is that somebody, part of that little community of people had knowledge.
I agree.
Or, something like that. So, fifth message by Tyler, I will. I'll be safe. Sixth message, Tyler says, I'm more worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle, the one that they recognized. Seventh message.
I talked about this last night, and see if you agree with this. Great. Like, it almost shows how disconnected from reality these two are. Number one, they're talking about like they went on a grocery run. And the fact that Tyler Robinson is more concerned about what his dad thinks about him losing the rifle compared to he just murdered someone in cold blood.
It's pretty
and
crazy.
Doesn't quite understand the ramifications of anything involved. The fact that he's going to go to jail for the rest of his life, that he's worried about that. The fact that he just murdered somebody, that there's no remorse. There's no remorse that's indicated by any of this.
I mean, his dad's anger is such a small, it's like almost irrelevant compared to the fact that you just killed somebody.
If you're a rational human being.
Yeah. So let's see. And then it says, I'm more worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. Seventh message. Tyler says, he's far scarier than any Fed NGO. What does that mean? Not going to lie. That's right. Eighth message. Tyler said, guess I'm just sitting in my car watching reels. Like he's on. I'm just picturing him on a cell phone zipping through reels,
like
for another hour.
Like
What's that?
Food order.
Yeah, exactly. For another hour, hoping this guy F's off. Ninth message. Lance says, are you okay still? See, isn't that weird? They use that still thing at the end. Usually people would say, are you still okay? Are you okay still? 10th message, Tyler says, yes, checking spot again. Now will. I mean, wow, that's weird. Yes, I will check the spot again now. So they put that weird, will and at the wrong part of the mess. I don't know, man. The same thing is still the way they write.
Well, and this is also pretty indicative fact that this is not AI generated. You know what I mean? It's like these weird little
quirks
that just wouldn't be AI like people are claiming this to be.
Yeah, and I think that, like I was saying the other night on your the show that we did together again, was the part where if it was AI generated or if it was fake and they contrived it, there wouldn't have been that confusion when Twiggs said, Why? And then Tyler said, why did I do it? Because just prior to that, he had mentioned all these different things and he didn't know what the why meant.
Yeah.
Would you really do that? Like sit around and, now let's put this little thing in here when I got confused so that people would think. It's crazy. Anyways, the next part down here is Lance showed FBI Special Agent Lang additional text messages between Tyler Robinson and himself. The text messages were photographed by investigators as Lance showed them the text messages. The following is the text content of one of the pictures that investigators took of messages between Tyler Robinson and Lance Twiggs. First message, Tyler says, I'm sorry, but I think this might be it. If the way is clear, I can try and come your way to say goodbye. After that, I have a spot in mind, probably to take his life, that I'll call the police to. Second message by Lance, are there cops by Lance's? Are there cops outside? The third message by Lance, and why are you calling the police anywhere? Fourth message, what do you mean? He's already told you he killed somebody. Fourth message, Tyler said, not yet, but I have no doubt that they will be on me within the hour, and I will be giving my location up and going out on my own terms. I wonder if he was going to do like take his own life by cop. I don't want to use the term because that's one of the words that, I have no intention of being drugged through the courts. Well, you are now in front of the country. Can I come see you? So I always wondered if they'd seen each other in that time frame after he went to the gas station and before he was arrested, and they probably did. Can I come see you? After that, I can call my dad and see if he's willing to help me or not. Fifth message by Lance. I'm just at my parents' right now. Maybe I could make an excuse to head home for a bit. Tyler said, you would need to do that right now, though. Seventh message, Lance said, any ideas? And then they discussed, like, Lance showed the like how to, what his idea would be. Let's see, this part's new too. So Lance showed the FBI Special Agent Lang additional text messages between Tyler and himself. So let's just get down here. It says, Lance, first message, Tyler said, for an excuse, that he was trying to help Lance have an excuse as why he could go home. I don't know. Second message, Tyler said, for getting out of this, none short of my family being willing to cover for me, I am effed. Third message, Lance, I'm not going to be able to leave. Fourth message by Lance, what's something urgent I would need to leave for? I mean, why can't he go wherever the hell he wants to go? I mean, he's an adult, right? Fifth message, you can say, I told you there's an emergency at home that I need you for with few details. Sixth message, I said I'm swapping laundry, heading home now. And then seventh message by Tyler, nice, I will see you soon. Eighth message, Tyler, coworker has just sent me the still of me on campus. This part was crazy. Look at it. His coworker just sent me the still of him on campus. What is your ETA? Ninth message, the actual text is, coworker has just sent me the still of me on campus. What is your ETA? Ninth message, Lance says, like 3 minutes.
Which I know Liz Wheeler reported this, that the coworkers, I believe they actually contacted her. I haven't seen this reported anywhere else, but the coworkers recognized him in the way that he walked around with his fists clenched. So that was something that I know Liz Wheeler reported. I hadn't heard that anywhere else. So take that for what it is. But again, we see corroboration of, I don't know, legitimate reporting as opposed to a bunch of this anonymous nonsense.
Yeah. And then this is the part here. The following is the text content, another picture that the officer took. Message, Lance says, why? So this is that they cut off. It's really important to have seen what was said before. He says, why? And then second message, why did I do it? And the reason he asked why did I do it is because prior to that he'd mentioned 4 different things in one text. And he says, yeah. Fourth message, Tyler said, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. Fifth message, if I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. And then this is the newer part. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything in the news about them finding it. We'll update you by midnight. The sixth message by Lance. All right. Seventh message by Lance says, stay safe. I mean, see, that's weird. These messages sort of seem like they're like on the same team. I mean, man, if I knew that somebody I knew killed somebody, I don't think I'd be like, all right, yeah, hey, stay safe, all right, And eighth message by Lance, how long have you been planning this? And then Tyler said, a bit over a week, I believe. And then we know that it was 2 weeks before the event is when it was initially mentioned. I can get close to it, but there is a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it. See? I think this all just really interesting. A bit over a week. I believe I can get close to it out there, but there's a squad car parked right by it. I think that sort of similar to something I've read before. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it.
Yeah.
And then I'm just kind of going over the stuff that I noticed that was newer. Let's see. So this is it right here. This part, according to information obtained from the FBI investigators who reviewed the information stored on Lance Twiggs' device, Twiggs took a photograph of a letter that Tyler Robinson wrote to him. For context, Tyler Robinson had sent a message to Lance Twiggs on 9/10 that said, drop what you're doing. This is a text message. Drop what you're doing and look under my keyboard. So under Tyler's keyboard. During Lance Twiggs' interview with investigators, he explained that he found a handwritten letter underneath the keyboard. Based on information from Tyler and Lance's phone, it is believed that Tyler sometimes refers to Lance as Luna. The following is what Tyler Robinson wrote on the letter to Lance Twiggs based on the photograph found on Lance's phone. So Lance must have taken an image of the letter, because if it was a letter just written and it was underneath the keyboard, the only way that it would be, they would have a digital copy of it. I mean, where's the original copy too? That's one of the things that's, it says Robinson wrote on the letter to Lance Twiggs based on the photograph found on Lance's phone. So Lance took a photograph of the letter that Tyler Robinson wrote and left under his keyboard. Luna, if you are reading this per my text, then I am so sorry. I left the house this morning on a mission and set an auto text. I am likely dead. So it's weird that he still let that go, I guess, because he's alive. I am likely dead or facing a lengthy prison sentence. I had the opportunity. This is the part that was only in that document. Remember how we always kept telling everybody there's more in there?
Yeah.
All that was in that document, the probable cause, or I guess the charging document said, all it said was, I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and I took it. But all this other stuff was actually in that letter.
Just followed by ellipses.
And it says, I don't know if I will have succeeded, but I had hoped to make it home to you. I wish we could have lived in a world where this did not feel necessary. I wish I could have stayed for you and lived our lives together. I lack the words to express how much I love you and how very much you mean to me. Please try and find joy in this life. I love you always, Tyler. I mean, that's about as clear a confession as you can possibly get,
Yep.
They're going to try to get that thrown out somehow by not having the original, maybe. It's just...
I mean, any good defense team would at least try, right? I mean, they're going to. Look, and here's something telling that I want you guys to think about, too. Is I haven't seen anybody so far on the conspiracy side go through the documents the way that we are. Maybe they have, I don't know. But they're really good at omitting this information in the same way that Candace Owens has never went through the charging documents. All she did was provide bullet points that she pulled out of the charging documents and presented on her show. So they're constantly omitting, incriminating information because they don't want you to know that. And then always coming up with creating exculpatory or even exaggerating potentially exculpatory evidence for Tyler Robinson. I don't understand why they want Tyler Robinson to get off on this so hard. And the only thing I can come to is they don't want to point the blame at the left. And this goes right back into what I've said before. This is an attempt to take down Donald Trump. We saw what was taking place right after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Everybody was on the same page. Hey, you know what? The rhetoric of the left has gotten too crazy. We know the left killed him. They were making fun of him. They were actually still at October, come Halloween, all these celebrities, all these well-known people were going around dressing up as Charlie Kirk being killed. So the left celebrated this, and we know what it is. And they're trying to distract you completely from that and come up with, the French Foreign Legion, Freemasons, killer bees from outer space, Israel, U.S. government, Mitch Snow, Fort Huachuca, and all of this is fun and exciting, but it's not real, folks. It's not real. Let me hit a couple more super chats, and then we will continue on. Lucas, thank you very much. Keep on grinding, speak the truth. Thank you, buddy. This is a good question. I'm just wondering where the rifle is supposed to be down his pant leg right now. I'm just curious how he bends his legs if he has a rifle down his pant leg. So, what is it? Matt Kester. I think he put the videos back up, but Matt Kester actually basically recreated this whole thing. And he makes it very clear that you absolutely can conceal the rifle the way that he did. The back of that rifle, the bottom of that rifle will basically go down to about the knee area. So he'll have limited mobility, and he could bend it somewhat. But look, people were like, oh, how did he get up the stairs? Even if the barrel went all the way down to his ankle, like we've all had, injured legs where we have to keep, you can still get upstairs. You don't look look like a gazelle. don't look very graceful, but even if you have a completely stiff leg, you can still get upstairs.
Yeah, you just kind of use the one leg, lift yourself up, and kind of tilt, sort of, and then
This isn't freaking rocket surgery. Like suddenly these people that can find, this iPhone gun, which I forgot about earlier, they can pixel peep. They can look at this crowd of 3,000 people and find this one little pixel that looks like something. But you're going to sit there and act like you can't get up a flight of stairs. You ignore the obvious just because you have one stiff leg. Like,
yeah, and I've shown the route there. The way he could have gone, there's very little stairs ever. He had to go down the one and then into the tunnels. That's like 4 steps, and then into the tunnel. And that's one of the only sort of things, but it's hidden, sort of inside, but there's a camera there. And then when he got out, he walks all the way over and then goes up a couple stairs and then right into the Losi Center building. It's not hard.
Is there a date and time on the search? I'm sure there is. I'm just looking at the very beginning of this. I'm looking for the date and time on the search warrant. Okay, so yeah. The information is being requested during the following time period. Well, that's talking about the electronics from the beginning to the end. I don't see a date and time of the let me go to the very bottom. I think I actually had the wrong document. Hold on 1 second. Search warrant.
The opportunity to take out Charlie.
Oh, I think this is the right one. Let me see.
That looks like they corrected the grammar on that. I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I took it. That isn't the exact wording that was on. I just realized I'm just talking out loud.
Yeah.
Where was that thing?
You talking about from the original charging documents?
Yeah, he said. Yeah, it said, I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. That's just really crappy grammar. That's not what he said in this search warrant. It's normal. Made sense.
Well, either one could be they could have made a typo on one versus the other one.
Yeah, I don't really care. I'm just talking about the other one makes more sense grammatically, so maybe the first one was although they do make mistakes in there. So he types in errors. These things are never 100% accurate. Like there might be a sentence like, he dropped the item on the ground and he picked it up. Well, he dropped his glasses. His gun was still in his hand. If you really review it correctly, the gun and the towel. That's just what their quick observation was, and they put it in there. It's just the overall totality is their probable cause. Over 50%. This one is a slam dunk. It's not just 50%. These documents are like, he's the guy, Yeah. So it is, instead of probable cause, it should be called like, I don't know, but it's something else. It's not just probable.
Just so you guys know, and I'll pull his down for a moment. I'll just take you through this document so you guys know exactly what we're talking about. That's not it. Where am I at? There we go. But I will take you over to this right here. Share this tab instead. All right. So just so you guys know, what this search warrant is for the electronics. All right. This search warrant is being sent to Apple. It also talks about iCloud up here, Apple account. So this is the search warrant, and why the search warrant specifically has the text messages on there. This information is being requested during the following time period, 8/27 through 9/12/2025, basically 11 midnight on the 12th. So you guys are aware. But down here, we actually have a time of when this was executed, and that was on the 17th, I believe it is. Here we go. 17th of September. So this is when this search warrant is actually executed. And just so you have full understanding of what this search warrant, the scope of this affidavit for search warrant, which is there's getting this information to Apple, and that's why everything covered in here is the actual text messages. But I will pull that down and put Gray Hughes back up.
No.
There you go. Real quick, let me hit a couple of super chats so we don't get too far behind. We got that one. Keep on growing, speak the truth. We got that one. Oops. This thing keeps moving on me. It's really lovely to be in a sane chat. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills in a bunch of the live streams or comment sections. So nice to be here. That's what we want to do. Lucas, main man, 100 grand. I don't know what that means, Lucas, but thank you, buddy. We appreciate you. Great show. Who will join me in the wave?
Oh, it's on my channel. Trying to get support over there.
Sweet. Yeah, folks, if you're not following Gray, you should be. Go make sure if you're watching my channel, go follow Gray. And if you're not following my channel, follow us. Tyler clenches his fist in the cam shots and the photos of the Halloween costumes that were initially provided. Same mannerism. And why would Israel take out Charlie in such a high-profile manner? This is exactly right. It's so dumb. They would not risk such a high, like you have 3,000 people there. You have cameras all over the place. You're at a very surveilled location with surveillance cameras all over, security cameras all over the place. It makes zero sense. And then on top of that, and then there's so many like different, like the problem that we have, and that Gray and I are always fighting, is that the conspiracy folks constantly move the goalposts. They bring up one thing, you address it, and they're like, no, this is what's happening. So for instance, it's like, okay, Israel took him out, or the French Foreign Legion took him out, and you start addressing those like, okay, so this big conspiracy took place, and they got away with it, but the one thing they screwed up was they gave the patsy the wrong caliber rifle. Well, that's retarded. And like, no. The U.S. government was involved in it, and all of this evidence is made up. Well, if all this evidence is made up, why didn't they just confirm that the bullet analysis actually matched the rifle and be done with it? And then, like, again, what people don't understand is the defense is going to get access to all of the all the evidence.
Yeah.
And they're going to be able to go through and they're going to be able to forensically analyze all this stuff. They've already forensically analyzed all of the text messages. They know that they're legitimate. Yeah. And if they didn't think it was legitimate, we'd already start seeing motions to throw this stuff out, or we will see motions to throw this stuff out.
You know what they're not going to talk about, and what the defense is not going to do? Fort Huachuca, the Egyptian planes, Turning Point USA, and the Israeli connection. Okay, if there was anything to any of that, they'd be all over that shit too. But they aren't going to do any. These people are crazy, man.
But Gray, you're forgetting. Like, they're putting in secret codes into these documents so that Baron Coleman and Candace Owens can see what they're trying to tell them. That's what's happening, Baron. They're putting in this information just for Baron Coleman and just for Candace Owens, Gray, so that, you know, they're like, hey, we know you're watching. We know you're going to help us get Tyler Robinson off. I mean, the narcissism and the self-importance of these people is pretty insane. Thank you, Gary, for working so hard. Yeah, that's Gray does the same thing. He's gone over these documents. He's put all this stuff together in ways that I never would be able to. I mostly watch Gary's stream after the fact or commenting on them over X, but I finally started joining these live streams. It's been fantastic to be in the company of sane, level-headed folks. Thank you very much.
Yeah, the problem is it doesn't feel that way to the trolls that show up, or the people that believe in Candace Owens and Barron. They come in here and feel isolated because we're not believing in the garbage. Yeah, that's the weird part is when you're sane and you're just going over things like that, it doesn't work. See, recently I got to see when I was on Barron's show. I was on his show. He put my video on his show and he said really nice things about me. So I got like 300 subscribers that came over, and I said yesterday, I go, listen. You guys are going to be absolutely disappointed. Anybody who came over in that, hey, go subscribe to Gray's on Barron's show, you're going to be absolutely disappointed because I don't agree with anything that he says at all. He just happened to use something that we already debunked months ago.
Right.
And in fact, he debunked Candace Owens herself, who's the one who put out the 807 timeframe. And so that's just sort of the reality. I appreciate you guys coming over and subscribing, but you're going to be absolutely disappointed.
It's kind of like one drunk person being around a bunch of sober people. It's like, you guys are a bunch of lame people. You're not even having fun. And everybody else, not belligerent, can sit there and kind of like, dude, this guy, we need to get this guy out of here. Ben Dykes says, has anyone mentioned Baron Coleman was a Fed informant? He has tried to get the word Fed slop trending when he is a Fed slop. So, yes, I've talked about this many times. Technically, he was not a Fed informant. He was a government informant for the state of Alabama. I've talked about this multiple times. He is also a lawyer that was testifying for the prosecutors that admittedly, on court documents, in sworn affidavits, has admitted that he went around and started a whisper campaign intentionally to prejudice a jury. That's what the type of person that Baron Coleman is. So I don't know how he didn't get a ethics complaint at the time. Seems like he would, because that is obviously severely unethical. But yes, I've talked about this multiple times. And I've also talked about the prosecuting attorney. I've also talked to the prosecuting attorney and know a lot of other information about Baron Coleman. And quite frankly, he's nothing good. I got nothing good to say about him.
I mean, he's a great, he just seems like if he was your pastor, oh shit, man, he'd be great. If he was selling you a car, he'd sell 9 of them in 10 seconds. I mean, it's just.
He is, look, he also, Baron Coleman, after I guess he gave up law, he was a talk show host, a radio talk show host for many years. He understands how to manipulate an audience. He understands the voice inflections. He knows when to pause and when not to pause. He's a very good, and he's entertaining. All of those things, which is exactly, look, when you have cult leaders, which is literally what he is at this point, all of these people are very charismatic, and he is exactly that. He's good at painting the picture. He's good at presenting. He's compelling. And when you have people that you start off with a group of people that are extremely gullible and or impressionable, suggestible, he's going to be effective.
God. It's just listen, when you listen to Candace and that little pot like and he went to the island. That little weird, whatever the hell it is, this little thing that they do, this cadence shit. And so Baron has started doing the same thing. He's got it down now. It's just these certain pauses where, there's something dramatic's coming up. What I'm about to tell you isn't going to be true, but boy, it's going to sound interesting.
Yeah.
I just get really frustrated. I get frustrated with the whole thing. It's like you got channels out there that put out the factual information and get almost nobody watching. And you get these absolute lunatics that get 20-something thousand people watching because it's entertaining and fun. And I'm going to tell you all right now, when this goes to trial, there isn't going to be a damn thing that Candace Owens or this Baron says that's going to show up in the trial, nor be true. So when Tyler Robinson is found to be guilty, they're just going to claim it was a cover-up, and you morons are going to continue to follow him as if they're onto something new in the future, and Tyler Robinson is going to waste away in prison or be executed before you guys stop talking about it like it's. I'm so tired of it. Sick of it. Really.
It is. Look, it's frustrating. That's apparently how the world works, and it is what it is. But that's what they want to. Gray is we can't get frustrated. We can't give up, and that's just a fact. Cold-Blooded Christian, which I follow on X. If you guys aren't following Cold-Blooded Christian, as a matter of fact, CBC, we need to get you on the show sometime. I enjoy your content on X. Go give him a follow. Candace put shade on those messages, but we don't understand kids who went through COVID, how it made them socially awkward. Those kids are different. And on top of that, look, they're in Utah. And when I went to Utah, what I figured out right away is that especially LDS, they talk slightly different. And you're absolutely right. These people that are ingrained into this, anime, this, especially the furry stuff, like they just are different. They're just different. And by the way, we actually had Lance Twiggs, a family member, go on Brian Eaton's show and did a full interview and says, hey, look, these are the ones that did it. And yes, they do talk like that. So take that for what it is. We got a super chat from Gray side of the house. Hello and welcome, everybody. Love basic, generous family. I don't know what that means, but
That's I have a emoji that doesn't show up.
gotcha.
It's one of my, the ones you can make yourself.
Thank you, Gary and Gray. So appreciate it. We appreciate you. Thank you for all your hard work covering this case. We appreciate that. The way that you guys can repay that, super chats and all things are great. But what's better than super chats or memberships or whatever else is share this content. Share this content. You're welcome. I'll tell you right now, you're welcome to take any of my content, cut it up, share it around. Feel free to do that. It's just nuts that wild theories are more plausible to these woke conservatives, than a crazy lefty. We know they exist. There's a reason Trump got elected in the first place. What's also nuts to me is the fact that all of the woke right, have TDS far more severe, far crazier than anything that we saw from the Democrats. I was thinking the warrant was from TR's home. Was trying to build a timeline around the 4 a.m.
Is that Matt Kester or
No, I know exactly who this is. 912 arrest, 625 interview. Speculate on the gaps. Also, the new joke is Lucas as Jew money. Just joking. Yeah. So that's I understood it. That's what you're saying, Matt.
Well, we're both going to retire because we get 7,000 of video. You guys, I mean, it's amazing.
I get $14,000 per post from BB himself. I don't know if you know that.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's weird too. Why wouldn't I make 9 videos a day?
Exactly.
I mean, make as much as Candace does on her shows. Or I'm not sure. You probably you inhaled water too?
I did actually.
Look at see, that's what I'm saying, man. What's going on?
We got water going down, or tea. I got hot tea over here going down the wrong pipe. All right, so that takes care of our super chats. What else did you want to cover on this, Gray?
I think it's kind of just pretty much ended there. I just thought it was interesting, all the new things.
So he was just saying when he was using your shadow analysis, he was just basically saying that the timestamp on the video was incorrect, which we knew going way back when because the video.
Yeah. I mean, he was very complimentary the whole time, and he told people to come over and subscribe and everything.
Well,
and so I appreciate that. I wish I had the same feeling towards his work. I just don't. That's the thing is, and not because I'm some asshole or something. It's just he is not putting out accurate, true information, and nothing he says is going to be used at trial nor verified in any way at all. It's just a way to ride the coattails of Candace Owens, who's putting out the conspiracies, and then his stuff is sort of right in that same vein, and they sort of play off each other, and they get the same crowd, and they make a ludicrous amount of money. I mean, it is crazy.
Yeah, it really is.
That's why they do it.
I think this is a great suggestion. At the end of the stream, you should do a summary, like a shorter, punchy. Here's what we covered, debunked. That way, that part can be clipped for easy sharing and viewing.
It's hard to do that, though.
Yeah, it is a little.
Because it's we're kind of doing it live. We're just sort of ding, ding, ding. Like how do you do that? You'd have to have your producer put together the bullets.
Well, I have a guy that is now cutting shorts, and some of you guys have seen that, smaller 8-minute clips and things like that from these live streams. But here's what we have covered. Here's in summary. We covered that the narrative that Barron is pushing is not supported by any facts whatsoever. It is supported completely by him just saying it and pointing to one time that when he is Mirandized and assuming, and he knows better than this, just like we talked about, he knows that they're going to be re-Mirandarized when they're doing an interrogation or attempting interrogation. That is not to say that it's the first time, and nothing he states. Why would we not see the arrest reports prior to 6:25 p.m.? It's clearly on the 12th when they're attempting that interrogation. That's listed in the motion to exclude cameras. So there's that. The other thing that we've done is we've gone through the new search warrant. It's an electronic search warrant. We've gone through the new information that we now have that was released in his text messages. We've done that. So, that's kind of where we're at on this, folks. We're getting a clearer and clearer picture of what is true and what's going on really in the grifter elites with Candace Owens and Baron Coleman and the rest of them. Is they're becoming desperate. They're trying to grasp at straws and convince you, trying to continue to undermine the official narrative, the actual investigation. That's what's going on. And that's why they have to say stupid things like, oh, well, they're giving us signals here because they know that we're watching. Like, if you buy that, folks, you need to do you need to do a self-check on your cognitive security. I don't know. What else you got to add to that, Gray?
Sorry, I turned down my volume.
Okay.
So, to your review at the end?
Just in general.
Yeah. I kind of just said what I think about all this. It's just really frustrating, especially I'm in the true crime genre, and then sometimes it bleeds over into sort of the political true crimes. But the Trump assassination, that's where we met, and then this is another one. The Charlie Kirk was another one that like a crossover type, and it's the same regardless. The weird part is even in just the true crime genre itself, you have crazy people like Brian Koberger admitted it in court that he did it, and there's still people out there claiming he didn't do it. Over and over and over and over and over and over again. It just never ends. So there's just this huge segment of the population that is just willing to forego logic, reason, and common sense for sort of a feeling of we're on to something. It's just it's bizarre to me. But I thought this new document that came out was amazing. Had lots of way more context to the text messages, a little bit more information. Remember that about Tyler going up the stairs and then something bulging out on the video? That was really interesting. And then and then also when he was walking there, he was on the sidewalk. So now we can kind of say that he didn't go through the grass. He went around like that. So I like to put together the technical pieces so it's all part of a timeline map, that you can just look at and go, oh yeah, so this is where he went. And you and I, when we were there, we walked the entire route, basically from the guy's house that has the surveillance camera that's further away, the one that filmed the Dodge Challenger, and him walking in the morning. That camera, the walk from there, we walk all the way around, and I think, when you put it all together, it looks like Tyler Robinson did a dry run right around 10 o'clock until, who knows, maybe 11 or so. He went to check it all out, walked the same route that he walks later. And then he goes back, and then he puts the other clothing on, the gun and everything, and then walks back, does the shooting. Easiest thing in the world. We've shown that, how simple it was to get on that roof, fire the shot, and then he just, I guess leaving the gun is kind of the gun and the screwdriver on the roof and everything like that. He just didn't plan it all incredibly well after the shooting, like you said earlier. Yeah. So, anyways.
No, I couldn't agree more. V. Scott says it sucks that the truth takes a little more methodology going through the documents. Candace just builds a timeline for crazy random factoids and repeats them ad nauseum. You're absolutely right. It takes more effort because they don't care about the truth, right? So we want to make sure that what we're putting out is correct, technically correct. And again, Gray does that job better than anybody else. The way that he goes through this, puts together timelines, uses 3D overlays, uses Google Maps and things like that, and shows you everything else that's going on with these cases. It allows you to imagine what's going on in your mind, and it removes gaps. And there's a reason they don't do things like that. There's a reason they're not technical. What Candace Owens and Barron and all these other people do is say things like, you know what? I got an anonymous source that told me that it wasn't Tyler's parent that turned him in. And then the next episode, what she states is, we've already proven that it wasn't Tyler's parents that turned him in. And then she'll repeat that 10 times over the next month. And everybody walks away with, she proved it. She proved it. She brought receipts. Where's those receipts? Oh, it was an anonymous source that she mentioned one, which, by the way, she had contradicted herself, saying that her source that she trusted multiple times verified that it was the mother that spotted Tyler Robinson ahead of time. And she does this, the same tactic and technique. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And I'm just thankful for an audience of you guys that are smart enough, that are high IQ enough, that you understand what's going on. You have some discernment, some common sense. You're using logic, and you're not just going with emotions and overindulging your imagination to the point where you're disconnected from reality, because that's what's happening. These people are delusional. That's what's going on.
I was gonna say, I think it's really strange that Barron and his audience and all these people just discovered my shadow video. I mean, that thing's been out for so long, and it has like tens of thousands of views too. It's not like it's one that got buried somewhere.
Sure.
That's something. It shows you that they sort of live in an echo chamber where they haven't seen, like, they don't, the Matt Kester video, these other ones where you would actually understand a lot of the stuff that actually happened in the case. They don't know those things. They don't watch them. They don't care. They just want to keep talking about Fort Huachuca.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And the Jews.
Yeah. It's always their fault. That's why it's sort of starting to sound like Nazi Germany from these people. Everything that goes wrong is blamed on them,
I actually made this statement, and I hate, look, the last thing, as being a conservative that's pushed conservative politics for many years, I've constantly been called a Nazi or a racist or whatever else. And I don't use those terms lightly. But I made that exact same statement the other day on X. When you have these people where their message is indistinguishable from the Nazis and the woke right, when they're talking about the Jews are in charge of everything, they're the blame for everything, they're controlling our government. At the end of the day, the woke right sure appears to me as the new Nazi party. Because that's exactly, they're pushing the exact same ideology. It is indistinguishable.
And the left's always been anti-Israel for some reason. So it's like, where's the safe place now?
It's
great for Jewish people. It feels like there's nowhere to. They're just probably. I bet you it's like a really dangerous feeling that they have.
Yeah.
Currently.
Indeed. On that note, Jen, I'm gonna have you jump in here real quick, and let's talk about what we got coming up for our shows, and then I'm also going to let Gray talk about what any upcoming shows. I know he has one this evening as well. Jen, are you there? Jen, did you abandon me?
Yeah. We've just been covering like that. There's this lady missing in the Bahamas. We've been going over that. Any updates in the Nancy Guthrie case? We do those. Right now, everybody just keeps sort of like, what went wrong in the investigation? It's like that to me. That's kind of a waste of time. I don't care. I want to know what happened, not what went wrong in the investigation. Maybe we can talk about that later. But she's still missing at this point.
One of the things, folks, down in the chat, I was talking to Gray about possibly doing this. I know he's covered the Nancy Guthrie case in detail. Let me know if you guys would like to have him on to talk about that. Because I still don't know what's going on with that. I haven't paid that much attention to it. And so if that's something that you guys would like to discuss, feel free to do so. Let us know, and we'll definitely make that happen.
Yeah. Somebody said, it's always okay to question the narrative. Yeah, I mean, Sure. I like to call it like question the facts. You know, like the one like the stuff that's the word narrative always has this sort of. I know that's what's used all the time, but whenever I hear narrative, it sort of seems like it's this contrived thing that they want you to believe. You know, so I don't use the word narrative very often.
Almost
I just,
like a pejorative.
yeah, it's like you know, hey, this is what their narrative is. Well, no, it's the facts of the case. You know, that's what's been put together here. Now, whether or not what they see you can prove or disprove, that's something. But it's not really. They're not creating a story. Most of the time, I mean, I don't know. I don't use that term. So.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I was trying to find a quick video. There's a couple of quick videos that I think that people should watch, but Charlie Kirk addresses Israel hate. The other thing he talks about, there was a time when he was doing a live in front of like a large audience, and someone started bringing up the USS Liberty, and he was like, "Stop! I'm not going to sit here, and I'm not going to allow you to push this conspiracy theory nonsense." So again, there's a certain point in time, folks, while we should let people talk and express themselves, like we got to push back on things that are just provably wrong, because that information, and however you want to do that, I'm not saying necessarily say no, we're not going to address this, but we got to push back on all these narratives that are being pushed our way, because they are disinformation.
Yeah, I would say, like, when law enforcement puts something out, that's when I don't like when they call it a narrative. I know people want to, it's like, but I think what it is a narrative, or people, you know, like Candace Owens, et cetera, it's just a story being manufactured, and this is what they want you to believe. And I don't think, my default is to, like, I trust what law enforcement puts out in probable cause documents, but I look at it, and if I see something that doesn't add up or make sense, I point it out. And then almost every time it's fixed somehow later on in another document. We go, oh, okay, there you go. You know, but I mean, there's no motivation. Like, you sit here with these Utah County. I mean, what's their motivation to make all this stuff up? Ooh, you know, it's really frustrating. I understand being skeptical of, like, the feds or whatever the heck you want to call it, but when there's like an official document, a probable cause document, they're not putting in bogus stuff. Okay,
they're gonna have to prove those things in court, and that's
right.
where the disadvantage comes from. Like everything that Candace Owens says, Baron Coleman says, they don't have to prove any of that in court. All they got to do is convince you of it, and like they're never going to be held to account at all. And so, since we're on the theme here, real quick, I want to share this with you guys, and I think it's a good way to close today's episode out. I'm going to share this, and we'll see exactly what Charlie Kirk continued to talk about regarding anti-Semitism and the like. I don't know if this is the exact video I was looking for, but we'll play it.
That stops your ability to think independently.
Jewish people. Jewish men, they are Jewish. Jews.
And instead of pointing at a small group of people and engaging in this brain rot, become a better person. You'll be a happier and healthier, more joyful and productive person, but because of it.
Charlie Kirk used to talk about how anybody with a congregate yourself or compass should reject this.
Brain rot, become a
clip. If you get a chance, go watch this. I don't want to hear this guy talk about a bunch of nonsense, but again, he addresses this. And what's interesting about that is there was a Jewish person that was basically talking about Candace Owens, and he's like, "Look, I'm not going to. You're basically asking me to disavow someone. I'm not going to do that. But here's what I'm going to say about this anti-Semitic tropes that are going around." And he addresses it very specifically. And what we do know is that while Charlie Kirk, he did not have a relationship with Candace Owens after 2018, 2019. I know that she was on one of his tours. He wasn't there in like 2024 when she was still sane, but They did not have a good relationship, which is why she cannot produce any texts between them past 2019. And I also have talked to many people that are close to this situation that said that Charlie Kirk was avoiding her phone calls. What he's not going to do, you know, Charlie was a gentleman. Charlie was always trying to promote. He didn't want to cause a divide. And because of that, he was very tempered the way that he addressed Candace Owens and his relationship with Candace Owens. So, you know, take that for what it's worth. And I think most people in this chat understand that. But, you know, this idea that Charlie was her best friend or vice versa, just simply not true.
I always thought it was scary how she tried to make it seem like she was like a deity.
Yeah.
You know, like he had a dream and I had a dream too. And he was like, I'm his David or something. Remember all that crap?
Oh, yeah.
That's weird. She wants it to it's almost like Lori Daybell. And I don't know if you ever watched that. It was, you know, like this lady who was a part of a cult. It was actually in, it was Lori and Chad Daybell, and it was just the craziest cult you ever seen. They actually believed in zombies and all this weird shit. But she thought she was like a really high level in the church and would tell everybody that. And so, you know, and I think Candace sort of feels like she's a higher being than the rest of us, that she has some sort of a calling to defend Charlie Kirk. I mean, you know what's weird is I'd love to know what they really talk about behind the scenes at home. You know, what are they saying? Like, what? We got him today, man. We suckered those guys. You know.
I think there's probably some of that. Look at, and again, folks, this is speculation. We have no proof of this. We're just, you know, talking off the cuff here. But the fact is there is a lot of good evidence that they did not have a good relationship. I'm trying to think. Dave Rubin talked about how Candace Owens, before Charlie Kirk, she spent 2 hours at a private party or whatever that they were together, and she was just going off about Charlie Kirk. I think she was extremely mad at Charlie Kirk that he fired her the way that he did. And again, like all of these things that people are saying about how close relationship, then why did he fire her? Why did he fire her? Why did he not have her on as a regular on their podcast or anything like that? In 2025, and right up to the day before he was murdered, he had been anyways, Jewish guy. Daily Wire. Help me out, Gray. You're not helping me.
Oh, yeah. Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro. He had Ben Shapiro on multiple times. They had a good working relationship. Even if Charlie Kirk was frustrated with the donors, there's no indication. And we even have a letter that he sent Bibi Netanyahu just, I think, days prior to that. There was frustration with the donors. And there was even some frustration that Charlie Kirk expressed with the government and how they were prosecuting the war in Gaza. All of that stuff is fair, but there is no indication whatsoever that suddenly he was like turning against Israel. We have, you know, different political leaders here in this country that we disagree with. Doesn't mean that I'm going to become anti-American. I'm not. I'm going to sit there and call them out, and when they're lying and when they're doing things that are damage to America, that's fine. But to sit there and pretend now Gary is anti-American. Now, if I was constantly lying about my own government and I was creating different narratives and putting out disinformation to damage the credibility of a government that I disagree with, now we're talking about anti-American propaganda. That's the difference. Anyways, folks.
Yeah.
Any final words, Gray?
No, I appreciate you having me on, but we need to keep on, trucking out there. I got more of my juices back into the case a little bit with these new documents. Anytime there's new information, it really... Like I want to put it all together again, you know. I showed the other night where I went through the whole damn thing from start to finish, and that 360-degree videos really helped out a lot for that.
No, that was really good, and I have a 360 cam. I always hate having to go through. I actually do most of my editing with 360 in Adobe Premiere Pro, and it's a little bit more clunky than what you're using.
Yeah, I don't like to. Yeah, because there's actually the Insta360 Studio that you just download, and you just load it up on the screen and do it. It just is right. It's right there. You don't have to do anything at all. There's no editing or anything. You know, you just See how well, you don't have it on the screen, but you can just move it around, and that's a good way to do it. You don't need to use Adobe. I've never even tried in Adobe Premiere. That thing looks brutal.
Well, you have to download the
plugin. I have it
plugin for it. And
yeah,
it does get a little hard. All right, folks. Well, listen, we really appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate all your love and support. Make sure you go out there, fight the good fight, push back on some of this disinformation. Make sure you're supporting Gray. Make sure you're supporting us and everybody else out there that is telling the truth. The truth matters, and it matters a lot. And it's not always as fun. It's not always as entertaining. It's not always as salacious and sensational, which is what gets the clicks and views. But hopefully common sense and the truth will prevail. And I think we're going to see that happen as we get more information. And ultimately, when the trial comes out, hopefully people will realize they've been duped by a lot of these grifters. And they'll be less susceptible to this in the future. I hope that's the case, but we'll see. Great. Thank you so much for coming on. And everybody else out there, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I believe we have a show scheduled for Tuesday. We'll put that out very soon. But until next time, stay armed, stay ready. We'll talk to you.